Listen, man, God is amazing, ain't he?
Yes.
Ain't he? And more specifically, God has been really great to our next gen department, man. That's why we're here, right here at Ruby Jean's Juicery, man. I have a few lovely faces with me, and we're here to talk about how God has been faithful to us, to the next gen department, and also through this pandemic, man. So, yeah.
Speaking of this pandemic, can y'all believe that we've been in a pandemic for over 12 months at this point?
Yeah.
And I know like it took a hit for us. I know it took a hit for like parents and jobs, but it also hit our next generation department. And it hit them heavy between City Kids, Swerve, Verge, and Special Hearts. And so for me, I think like the main thing that this pandemic has done to our next generation department is that it took everything away from them.
Yeah.
Like they were in school, they were hanging out with friends, they were athletes, they were trying to go to college, all of that. And like out of nowhere, they were just like, you're going virtual, you can't see your friends no more, you can't go to a birthday party, you can't even have a birthday party. So like everything switched up on them, and I think this was something that really affected them. So like, what do y'all think? Like, what do you think has affected our next generation the most throughout this pandemic?
Yeah.
I'd have to say for me, just, kind of from a personal experience, I have a niece that is 11 years old, and this was actually her first year in 6th grade. She was so excited. She had some clubs she had joined, and she was excited to start trading getting her locker, trading classes. And unfortunately, she went straight homeschool, and the way that her district done it is she wasn't even integrated in a classroom with other kids homeschooling. It was her by herself, working on her homework, just no really peer-to-peer interaction, teacher only during homeroom time. So she really had to work on everything by herself. So for me, she got more with technology, and really social media was kind of her own way of reaching out to us, was our only way to really reach out to us, because we couldn't go over there. And she was just kind of stuck. I felt it just broke my heart. I felt so bad for her because she was so excited for 6th grade. 2 years in a row, birthdays in the summer, really didn't get to have a party. So it really truly affected her, and to me kind of made her sometimes lonely.
Yeah, I think the 6th grade thing is what get me the most, because we have students who are, 6th grade finally going to middle school, 8th graders going to high school. And so it's just like, this is your first year to, to be in a whole different environment. And so everything just like switched up for them. We had kids like senior scholarships, athletic scholarships, all those things. And I feel like it was like ripped away, like snatched away from them, because it's like scouts can't even look at them now, because they can't even run track, play football, play basketball. And not to mention, like, they lost countless loved ones throughout the pandemic. Some people probably couldn't even like host a ceremony, just all those things. So I think that, definitely this pandemic has definitely hit the next generation in more ways than we can even think of for a fact. Yeah.
So what challenges have you guys experienced with bringing our kids through the pandemic?
Well, there's been a lot of challenges, to say the least. You could think about technology and all that stuff. Like, that's one thing, but one thing we always try to make for certain, like for sure, that like we don't make excuses, we make adjustments. But really the challenge, I say, is even like pre-pandemic, we always try to make our environment something they want to be engaged in, and it's not something that we want to talk your heads off for the next 35 minutes, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, we had fun, but while we had fun, we learned a lot about Jesus. And that's what we still try to do, even in over Zoom, you know what I'm saying? And playing games, doing fun little things just to get them engaged and get them a part of this dialogue and conversation about Jesus, man. So even
great. With that, like, to even piggyback off of what Trey just said, I think another challenge is just trying to figure out what really worked, since we went from being in person to now being online and virtual. And so like we started off with devotionals, like packets of devotionals, which were really, really good, but like they were already doing schoolwork, and so we didn't want to make it look like this was just another assignment for you to do, but like this is a devotional. And it was kind of hard to see like who was engaging in the devotionals because it was paper, and so that was difficult. And then we went to Zoom on Wednesdays, and that was kind of difficult because it was Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. Kids are probably, you know, that's a weird time playing the game or something. But then we went to Sundays on Zoom during like church time, which was really good, and like that's what works for us, and it's been working for so long that now we're trying to figure out how to keep doing it without making them get bored with it. So like keep them excited about it. So now really just trying to figure out new ways to engage with them in a fun way with what works, because it's like really what all we got.
I'd have to say one of the challenges we had with City Kids is not knowing who was engaged. We would post the City Kids material online, and it was just really hard for us to know what parents was able to get to it, whether their computers were compatible, and were they able to sit down and take time with their kids to view the material, because we know a lot of kids were used to going to City Kids on Sundays. So they would have had to either view it after online service or pick a day of the week to sit down with them. So that's been kind of a struggle for us in City Kids, is to see who's really viewing the material and to get feedback from them. Did your kids enjoy it? So I would say that's been a very big challenge for us.
I think
I'm sorry. I was gonna say a challenge for me is actually being there to interact with the kids, like playing games with them, hugging them, just injecting the love that I feel for them, like, you know, how God feels for us.
Yeah, that's good. I think another thing to go off what you said is like, even like some of the kids might not even have access to the internet, to Wi-Fi, to computers, because I know like the schools take these laptops back during the summertime, and so it may be a little harder to engage with them because they, you know, City Kids don't really have cell phones. Verge may not have cell phones. Swerve probably, Special Hearts, you know, so it's kind of like sharing a phone, maybe City Kids and Swerve, maybe we got something at the same time. And then with the Wi-Fi, schools take the Wi-Fi boxes too. Like we don't know who got Wi-Fi, who got a computer, who got a cell phone. And so that's another thing, is really just trying to stay connected with everybody, with the families with multiple children, one computer. I think that's been another challenge for us.
That's great, that's good.
So what would you guys say is some of the pressure that the youth is facing during this pandemic?
That for me, like I said, is really the community thing. Like we were seeing about 60 kids pre-pandemic every other Sunday, like busting out the classroom.
Facts.
But now, like I said, everything was taken away from them, and so I know a lot of them was just like, you know, they not around their friends no more. They not around community anymore. Like on Sundays, we could just walk up to them, hey, how you doing? Like, I'm gonna text you, you know, like we could talk with them, we could connect with them. Even the parents would come to us and like tell us certain things so that we could, you know, help their students. But now it's kind of like they've been stripped away from community, and they've been over engaging in social media and TikTok. And I know like Pastor had to tell one of his kids, like, stop watching videos about God on TikTok, because that was another thing where it's just like, now they just learning so many other things, different things, because they don't have anything else to do for real. So I think that's definitely been a pressing issue, is they haven't really been able to talk with people, so they've been over engaging in social media.
Yeah, that's good, that's good.
You really don't want them to watch the videos because this might not be giving the correct message. You know, I think that's important.
That's another thing. Like even in our videos, the kids be asking so many questions because of something that they heard off of TikTok or something that they read or something that's on Google. So it's just like, okay. And you know, the stuff just go viral. So of course they're gonna think it's true because everybody's sharing it. So that's definitely been a tough thing. But I know Trey has been talking about like life groups. That's also been one of our pressing issues.
Small groups.
Small groups, life groups.
Yes.
We need it all.
Yeah, man. Definitely for small groups, because that's really what we want things to feel you know what I'm saying, is at least make it feel like a small group, like what were you saying? You were saying like connections. We want them to have connections.
And be discipled.
Yeah, and be discipled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like even like in the beginning of things when we first started, the blueprint of the whole thing was a community. You know what I'm saying? That they could be really a part of, that they can have safe, you know what I'm saying, safe community, they can have fun, and they can grow and be more like Christ, and they can, you know what I'm saying, and God can do whatever he pleased with their journey, like, you know what I'm saying, with us, man. And that's what we want to do with the future as well. That's what it looks like, you know what I'm saying? So with that, like, what do you guys think, or what do you guys see as the future for the next gen?
For me, you just mentioned life groups, and so like small groups, I'm sorry. But like for me, I've always wanted our Swerve students to be able to disciple city kids, you know, start small groups with city kids and Verge so that they could be in leadership positions to, you know, teach other students based off what we're teaching them. Like, of course, we want small groups within Swerve and Verge, but we also want them to be able to disciple the younger generation. And then like even with the college students, that was another thing, because so many graduated, but it's like we also don't want to like lose our connections with the college students. Like they just go off to college and it's, you know, that's just it with them. But like even with college students, like, you know, we want to be able to set them up for college, not just leave Swerve and be like, okay, I'm done with children's church, like, you know. But like we want to set them up to like love God forever, love God in college, connect them with churches, connect them with pastors in whatever area they're going to. And so I think that's something that we see, or I see, for the future of our next generation, is to be discipled.
For me, for city kids, I really see them growing in the church into a leadership role to where they can transition into the big church where their parents are. And that's one thing that we really want to focus on with city kids, is we want to grow their relationship with Christ, grow just their leadership skills, their leadership roles in our city kid department. We want them to be the next youth leaders. We want them to be the next praise and worship singers. We want them to be the next ones on the parking lot, wherever their gifts are, where they can be used. And another area that we're really excited about as well is with Special Hearts. Even taking the time to incorporate those kids with city kids, Swerve, Verge, with some assistance, you know, and for those that want to be in the classroom with Special Hearts, they're also able to do that as an option as well. So those are things that we're really, really looking at as well.
I'm glad you mentioned Special Hearts, because I think that's really important for them to, you know, jump into Verge and Swerve and City Kids, and so that our students could see, you know, kids who are different from them, but they can also love them, interact with them, you know, still be in community with them, because, you know, that's something that they'll have to learn throughout life anyway. So I think that'd be good for Special Hearts.
That's good, and I'm really glad that you touched on that, you know, because we always like to tell our teens and our youth that, like, this is not adult church and then the young church. Like, no, like, we are the church. Like, you know what I'm saying? And even pre-pandemic, we had them actually do like things in service. Like some of them was in the parking lot. Some of them, I remember seeing some of them working with the media and all the cameras. Like, where y'all supposed to be up here? Like, you sure? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Offering.
Yeah, offering and even before, like, you see all the kids with the signs, giving people warm welcomes as they come in, man. Which I do kind of miss, you know what I'm saying? That was so great, and that's the future that we wanna do, man. And I'm trusting God, and I have faith that God will do things above our expectations with the next gen, man, and that's great. And also, if you guys would like to join, if you'd like to volunteer,
we need volunteers.
Yes, you can text next gen to 816-974-0013. Also, today, with your sacrificial gift that you're going to be offering today, that's going to be a huge impact of what we do with the next gen, man. Love you guys. We'll see you later, man. There's more coming up. Don't go nowhere.